Oh, Heath loves doing projections, does the rankings, but which are the ones that are tough to project, and rank at the running back position? We'll find out right now on FFT Express. All right, Heath. So we're looking at running backs that are tough to rank. Who's at the top of the list for you?
I think at the top of the list has to be DeAndre Swift, and I think you guys may have talked about him yesterday with the thing that I noticed during the outlooks that he's never been outside of the top 24 per game. And so there's just this pull to believe that you know what he was last year, and now he's got Ben Johnson again, and we've been a top 20 running back several times, or at least a couple. And the risk of we've ranked DeAndre Swift higher than he finished more often than not. So people are a little bit worried about him. They're a little bit worried about Nick Chubb or J.K. Dobbins. But I think the thing that remains true, even with him being difficult to rank, is the drafts that I've been a part of so far have drafted Swift much closer to his floor than his ceiling. I think he's an excellent value based on the early ADP we've seen. I still rank him as a top 20 running back.
You like DeAndre Swift or Aaron Jones?
Swift by several rounds.
Do you like DeAndre Swift or Caleb Johnson?
I have Swift a little bit ahead of him in full PPR.
Okay. I wish he had the goal line work. I think that's kind of one thing that I'm a little hung up on. I don't know that he won't, but last year he did not.
Has he ever?
I don't know, honestly.
I don't think he, he certainly didn't when he was in Detroit, and he didn't last year. So maybe there was 1 year where he kind of did, but yeah, he hasn't had more than 8 rushing touchdowns since his rookie year, and he's still a number 2 running back.
I think he probably had the goal line role among running backs in Philadelphia, but obviously
that was not the goal line role.
Jalen Hurts had the goal line role. Okay, anyone else that really stands out to you? It's difficult to rank.
Well, I think the next toughest thing in terms of ranking is the old guys. And it's not that hard with Saquon. He's not that old yet. It's hard with Derrick Henry because of what he just did and because of the history of running backs his age. It's hard with Joe Mixon, James Conner, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones. Jones is a little bit less difficult for me because I don't know that I see the same upside as those other guys have. But if you told me that Kamara, Conner, or Mixon finished as top 8 running backs this year, the only thing that would be surprising about it was they did it at this age. They've done that before. They profile as the types of backs that are going to have a role that could provide that. And yet they have all shown reasons for concern, either low efficiency or low rushing touchdown totals or injury history. And they're all at the age where we expect decline. So how much weight do you put into the fact that the older running backs last year outperformed what we all expected? And do you rank these guys, Mixon, Conner, Kamara, all top 20 running backs for me in the projections pretty easily? But do you want to rank them that high, especially against the rookies?
I guess I'm a little surprised that Mixon is in this group with Kamara and Conner. To me, Mixon is a much easier pick. I get you're grouping them by age, but just in terms of difficult to rank, I feel pretty confident in Mixon. You see it differently?
Well, he is definitely higher than. I'm not saying it's difficult to rank Mixon against Kamara and Conner.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But Mixon was RB7 last year.
Yeah, Mixon's yeah.
Kamara was RB6 last year. Conner was RB9 last year. I'm talking per game. Like these guys were all.
Mixon's the youngest. Mixon's the youngest in this group, right?
I think I just actually gave the wrong finishes also. So sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay. James Conner just turned 30.
Yeah.
Kamara is going to turn 30 in July. And Mixon is, I think, going to turn 29 in July.
The other 2 guys were basically as good as I said. Conner wasn't quite that good per game last year. But yeah, I mean, does that little bit of difference in age matter to you when evaluating these guys? In the past, before last year, we didn't like 29-year-old running backs at all.
Yeah, I don't know if it matters. It doesn't. I don't. It doesn't matter for me with Mixon, but it's a little like subjective. I mean, I don't know. I like Mixon, so maybe I'm willing to overlook some of the warts. Whereas Kamara scares the crap out of me with that offense. I mean, they could just be the worst team in football. They should. Could
They
easily.
could have, but they could have a better offensive line than the Texans.
Yeah, man, the Texans' offensive line could be horrible. You're absolutely right. All right, let's take a break here and see if we got any more running backs to talk about. I got one I want to throw out there that I think would be difficult for me to rank anyway. Thankfully, I don't do rankings. We'll be right back on FFT Express. I think I have a tough time with Quinshon Judkins. Done a lot of drafts since the NFL draft. I have not selected Judkins. And that's because I didn't really like him that much coming out of college. My biggest issue with Judkins was he really mostly beat up on the non-Power 5 opponents. He really struggled in the Big Ten. His yards per carry was so much worse than Travion Henderson's, and they were teammates. So I'm just not sure that he's great, and I don't know that I like the Browns that much. I mean, I think they could be a pretty much a disaster too. How do you feel about Judkins? Do you feel like you have clarity on ranking him?
Yeah, I think it's easy to rank him as a borderline RB2, and maybe that's just a cop-out that I've done with most of the rookie running backs. I had this talk last week with Jacob Gibbs on FFT Dynasty, and we're different on Judkins. I'm more positive, he's more negative. But we had the same talk back in April with Matt Waldman and Jacob Gibbs. I think it is really influenced when Waldman loved Judkins coming before the draft, and Gibbs was really worried about him like you. And so it really comes down to, I think, what your pre-draft evaluation was. But it's obviously a good opportunity to see maybe as many rush attempts per game as any running back in this class other than Genty. He might be second in rookie running backs in touches.
I don't want to rely too much on my personal pre-draft evaluation. That's what makes it tough for me.
Right. And I think the other thing is that I like about Judkins, that I think it's overshadowed just a little bit, is that playing with Henderson, he still had caught 20 passes each of the last 2 years. I guess he was only with Henderson one of those, but like, he's not just unable to function in the passing game. Like, I'm a little bit more worried Caleb Johnson might be. I think he could catch 30 or 40 passes in the NFL and maybe rush the ball 270 times.
Anyone else you want to talk about?
I think that there's some more obvious ones as you get a little bit lower, like Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And that guy's gotten, I think there's some people that are just all in on Tootin. I've seen some best ball ADP where Tootin's actually being drafted ahead of Etienne now. And I mostly just don't buy that Tootin's going to come in and have that big of a role as a rookie, but how much is he going to impact? And then Bigsby's there as well. And what's Bigsby's role? So I think Jacksonville, and then obviously Dallas, but maybe it's easier with Dallas because you just ignore the entire offense and pretend like none of their running backs are going to matter.
But it could be a very good offense.
It could be.
I don't really want to ignore Dallas. But yeah, I was all on the Jaden Blue train, but I think Javonte might be a little underrated.
Well, now they were talking about Miles Sanders yesterday.
Oh, come on. Yeah, that one I don't, they're going to talk up guys, but I feel like if Sanders is good, it's going to be like, no, you can't trust anyone. I can't, right? Have a hard time seeing Miles Sanders.
Well, I think that there's a chance. Like, the chance is that Blue doesn't matter, like most running backs who are drafted where he was.
Yes.
And Sanders handles 60% of the early work, and Williams plays on passing downs.
You see what happened here with my background?
Yeah.
It's just a mess. Just a mess. Okay. There's so much tape on that background, on that poster, and it just keeps falling off the wall. We're going to figure that out. Thank you very much, Heath Cummings. Thank you very much, Miss Lippy. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow on FFT Express.